Welcome to the Ilona Anderson podcast, where we help conscious entrepreneurs grow and protect their businesses without getting lost in legal complexities or operational overwhelm. Today's guest is Andrea Sager, an attorney who has redefined what it means to be both a legal professional and an entrepreneur. She is the founder of Andrea Sager Law and the visionary behind the Legalpreneur, a platform designed to make legal support accessible to small business owners. Andrea's personal journey from burnout to building two impactful, lifestyle-aligned businesses is deeply inspiring. She's proof that you can scale sustainably, live intentionally, and make a difference while doing it. Andrea, I'm so thrilled to have you here.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm super pumped to be here with you.
So first, before we start getting into my questions, I kind of wanted to share with the audience how we met, or rather how I discovered you, because I met you a few months ago online. You appeared out of nowhere in my universe. I guess your marketing targeting worked because I did become your client, your coaching client for a short period of time to where you helped me scale my trademark law practice. And so what attracted me to you immediately is your unconventional path, your mindset. I love to connect and surround myself with people who are unconventional thinkers, who are living life on their terms, have interesting journeys of transformation, and you definitely exhibit all of that. So I was very excited to get to know you personally. I reached out to you because what you've done with your trademark practice is extremely impressive. I mean, you are a, I think 22nd, right? Ranked 22 out of like 40,000 trademark attorneys nationwide, which in
Yep.
itself is incredible. And you've built a seven-figure practice and you've helped over 1,000 brand owners trademark their businesses. But then there's not so much more to you than just being a trademark attorney, a successful trademark attorney, right? I love your personal journey. And then this community that you created for entrepreneurs called Legalpreneur, and then, the mission behind it. So I would like to learn more and share with the audience so they can get to know you more and learn from you.
Yeah. So I started in Big Law. I had my short stint in Big Law, which I thought was the absolute dream job. Very quickly found out that was not the dream. And I just wanted to work for myself. But really, the mission behind that was serving small businesses because I had a small business that I started in law school. And so I sold that when I went into Big Law. And I had that network of small businesses. So I constantly saw the need for legal support for small businesses. They clearly had legal needs, but nowhere to turn to. So I saw this need in the marketplace. And I remember giggling back in the day because in my first business, I was, researching all this entrepreneur stuff, how to be a successful business owner. And everybody always said, I remember what always stuck with me is fill a need, like find your niche by filling a gap in the market. And the first business, I remember just thinking like, how do I feel a need? Like, what are you talking about? Like, I didn't get it. And then for the second business, when I went out on my own, starting my law firm, I clearly understood. And I think really finding that gap, that has been my guiding force, my North Star, if you would say, because I saw how many small businesses needed help, but legitimately had nowhere to turn. They would go to, it was a lot of female entrepreneurs, and their dad would recommend them to somebody or a family member would recommend them. But a lot of these females weren't even taken seriously. We, as females, as our, they want to say, oh, your little side hustle or your little business. They just weren't even taken seriously. So I even got a lot of clients from, like, I was a secondhand attorney where they had already started to go to someone, but they were like, they don't even understand my business. I don't even think they take me seriously. So it wasn't even just a gap of, hey, there has to be somebody serving small businesses. There has to be attorneys that understand these business owners and that understands where they're coming from. So that's really where I believe I stood out with my law firm. And then very quickly saw that not only do I want to serve these small businesses one-on-one with my legal services, but also we can provide legal resources because not everybody needs to work one-on-one with a lawyer, especially when they start. So being able to just create more resources to reach entrepreneurs, no matter what stage of business, no matter how much money they're making, That's how Legalpreneur was born. And it started with just contract templates, and now it's grown to LLC filings. It's grown to our trademark course and our Legalpreneur membership. Like it's grown so much over the years. And really the whole time it's just been, hey, how can we better support these small businesses?
Okay, I love that. And by the way, I didn't know that you started out at Big Law, so we have that in common as well.
Yeah.
Your first
Yeah.
job at law school was in Big Law as well.
I hated it. I remember the first week I was there, I it hit me all of a sudden because it was, I mean, I'm telling you, my dream job was Big Law. I was going to be married to my job, work my way up to partner. Like that was my whole life plan. And the first week I was there, I was sitting in my office and I saw all of these old men in their three-piece suits. They were like 70 years old. And I just had this realization. I was like, oh no, they've been here since they were my age. I was like, I can't sit in this chair for the next 40 years of my life. And it hit me all of a sudden. I was like, oh no, I got to get out of here.
It's interesting because I worked at a firm. After I left Big Law, I worked at another firm where we worked 6 days a week and Saturdays were mandatory. And the management always told senior partners to show up on Saturdays as well to set an example for the young associates, you know? And I always thought, I'm like, this is the reverse good example because what it teaches us is that 30 years after practice of law, you're still expected to show up at an office on a Saturday and you still don't own your time. Like, that's
Mhm.
not exactly something I want to model. I mean,
It's miserable.
early in my career, I was willing to do whatever it takes. But, as we become mothers, not that we work any less, I mean, there's somebody that says that entrepreneurs are people that are willing to work for themselves 80 hours a week just so they don't have to work 40 hours a week for somebody else. And I find it true. I don't work any less, I work more, but doing it on my terms is
Exactly.
everything to me, the freedom that I have.
Mm.
So, was there a defining moment that made you realize that the old model was no longer working for you?
Yes. So when I was in Big Law, and this is so funny that you asked this because I talk about this moment specifically because I think we all have these defining moments, and there's a number of them throughout our life, but it is like that moment where you're like, this is it. I have to be on a different path. And I was I was at the big firm. I had small businesses trying to come to me at the firm, and they wanted trademarks. And we would do like a conflicts check. And I thought I was a rock star because I'm like, oh, I'm this first year associate bringing in clients. And a partner told me to my face, because the partners had to approve the clients. And he told me to my face, he said, this is a small business. This is not a quality client. We do not want them. And in that moment, I was like, what is he talking about? Like they weren't asking for a discount. They literally had nowhere to turn. And I was like, how, not even this big firm will serve them. Like somebody has to go serve these clients. That was the moment when I knew I had to go out on my own. My husband at the time, I'm now divorced. My husband at the time was not supportive of me going out on my own. And understandably, I mean, he was staying home with our son. I was the only breadwinner. So I'm telling him, like, hey, I want to quit and go out on my own to hopefully make a six-figure salary.
Mhm.
And so I understand where he was coming from. So basically, a month later, that whole next month, I am just getting ready to go out on my own, teaching myself trademarks on the trademark website, just trying to be prepared to go out on my own to hopefully have clients. And my husband and I at the time, we were in Cincinnati, Ohio. We had decided to move to Houston, which is where my family is. So we put our house for sale on a Monday. Wednesday comes along and I just had like my final straw with the firm. And I remember texting my husband saying, I cannot stand it here another day. I want to quit today. I think we have enough money in savings. Can I just quit? And he said, why don't you just wait until we have a contract on the house? That way we know it's going to sell.
Hmm.
And I said, you know what? That's I can go along with that. Like that's the light at the end of the tunnel. We just need a contract on the house. Let's do it. So that was Wednesday. Friday comes along and the managing partner and my mentor walk into my office and I immediately knew what was happening. And they basically gave me the choice like, hey, you can be on a performance improvement plan or you can not come in for the next 3 months, go find another job and we'll still pay you. And I had already looked it up. I had already looked up like how to get fired in big law and get a severance package. So I always say that I manifested getting fired from big law. That was the greatest day of my life. Because I was ready to quit that Wednesday, held on a couple more days, got a nice little severance package, launched my law firm that night, and the rest is history.
When you make the decision, the universe supports you, right? The
A
everything
hundred
rearranges
percent.
itself to give you what it is that you're energetically aligned to. I firmly believe in it.
100%. And then what's even funnier, and this is when I knew I was not into like self-development at this point, but this is when I knew like when you are on the right path, there's nothing that can stop you. Because after I got fired, we still had our house for sale. Nobody had even looked at our house. A
Mhm.
week or 2 weeks in, we drive to Houston to find a house that we're hopefully going to buy once our other house sells. And we're driving back, and I told my family, hopefully, and this was exactly 7 years ago, exactly 7 years ago. Hopefully, we'll be by Memorial Day, but we don't know. We just have to wait for the house to sell. We're driving back to Houston. Someone comes to look at the house, and they put in an all cash offer. And
Amazing.
we were back in Houston like a week before Memorial Day, and it all happened in like 2 or 3 weeks.
Amazing. Wow. I'm getting the chills. I'm
Yeah.
getting the chills. And it's also very similar to my story in a sense that when I decided to leave the law firm where I was working at when I was 5 months pregnant with my first child, because I didn't want to have to choose between my career
Yeah.
and bonding with my baby. And it was very important for me to breastfeed and be there. But I didn't want to put my career on hold. And so when I went and talked to my boss to see if there's any kind of flex arrangement that could be worked out, he basically said, no, we don't want to set a precedent. And I get it. This was very traditionally run law firm. This was pre-COVID, pre-Zoom, pre-flexible time arrangements, flexible work arrangements, building the foundation for my new law firm before the baby comes. So I resigned
Mhm.
when I was 5 months pregnant. And then very shortly thereafter, I met the person who then subsequently became my law partner in a plaintiff side employment law firm for the next 10 years. And even though we're not partners anymore, we had a very good run. And that really is what has shaped my entrepreneurial journey and now laid the foundation for Carpe Diem Law Firm, where I get to provide services to entrepreneurs. So everything just aligned when I had conviction, even though I was stepping into seemingly nowhere, making a very risky decision to forfeit a six-figure income, 5 months pregnant. Life, has supported me.
Yeah, like you said, when you make the decision and you are on the right path, it just gets to be so easy. I think a lot of people forget how easy it gets to be because we have it built up in our head like it has to be hard, it has to be tough, it has to be, all these tough markers. But actually, like we get to be supported by the universe, we get to be supported by our decisions.
And I love that you said that because in life, we get what we expect. If we expect it
Hmm.
to be hard, it's hard. If we expect it to be easy, and easy doesn't necessarily mean like easy. Easy, it's part of a mindset, right? Easy
Right.
meaning things come with ease or things align. It doesn't mean you don't have to work hard or put any effort, right? You don't have a bag of money falling onto your couch while you're eating bonbons, but but there's certain flow in your life when you decide that
Exactly.
things can be easy and that you're in alignment.
100%.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, what were some of the biggest challenges and insights from those early entrepreneurial days?
Oh man. I had no idea that starting my own law firm really just was the beginning of a full self-development journey. And honestly, I would say the hardest part was my marriage. And this is not me putting blame on my ex-husband at all because it's always both parties. Like we're always a reflection of what's going on inside of us. And I started to look at myself. I started to become more self-aware and realize like, hey, like I actually don't like how this is going. And navigating that through a marriage was really tough because I never said I'm never going to get divorced, but I never even thought about getting divorced. And so for a long time it was just giving myself that permission to know like, hey, like it's okay. Actually, it is okay if you want to get divorced. So I had to give myself that permission and really recognizing that, hey, there's more to life than what's going on right now. Because I saw a lot of success early in my law firm because I was trying to escape my marriage,
Mm.
because I wasn't happy in the marriage. I would work all day long. We would put the kids to bed and then we would go our separate ways for the rest of the evening. I would work the rest of the night. He would go play video games. And so there wasn't even a real connection anymore. We were just like roommates. And navigating that, and especially navigating the divorce, that was really tough as well, because I used to say I didn't want kids, but I have reframed it to I didn't know that I wanted kids yet, because now,
Mhm.
like, oh my gosh, like I
That's
love.
profound. Wow, I love that shift in perspective. Yeah.
Thank you. That is recent. That's a little recent. I had
Mhm.
kept saying like I didn't want kids, and then somebody was like, "Hey, maybe you just didn't know you wanted kids yet."
Mhm.
Oh,
Yeah.
because at the beginning when I was going through the divorce, here I am with like these great businesses, like killing it in business, but inside I'm just lost, not knowing anything. And now I'm, a 50-50 single mother now, and reconciling like how do I do this? Like I didn't even want kids. And so there was so much to reconcile inside. And there was a time at the beginning where I felt like the kids were a chore. And I say that very confidently now only because I recognize it, and I recognize that I did not want to feel like that.
Mhm.
And I realized like, hey, I feel like this, but I don't want to feel like this. Like I actually want to be excited about my kids, because I was starting to come into learning more about childhood trauma, learning about my past, my upbringing, and I I finally realized like, hey, I can change things. Like actually how I was raised, like I can actually change the story. I can change the narrative, and I can raise my kids the way that I wish I was raised. And so from then on, that was actually like the most pivotal for me, was learning like, oh, I get to rewrite the story. So I have done a lot of work over the past 5 years to become the best mother I can be, which I'm so, so grateful for, because I remember how rough those early days were. And I left when my kids were 1 and 3, so very much in the toddler stage. It was so tough. But now I love, love, love being a mother. And it's also just a beautiful reflection of my whole life, because now I don't run the businesses because I'm trying to escape this or escape
Mhm.
that. Just like you said at the beginning, like I have these businesses to support my lifestyle.
Yeah.
And so I actually now get to sit back and receive from the businesses, like these two beautiful masculine structures that I've created. I get to sit back now and receive from those. Also, I get to guide my kids through life and watch them become these great, human beings navigating life. And it used to be, for me, I operated in a lot of scarcity. We've talked about this a little bit, but I operated in scarcity because that was the house that I grew up in. Everything was scarcity, everything. And even now, my kids recognize my dad. They call him Paul. I'm like, why is Paul always so scared? And I'm like, honey, that's him. You don't have to take that on. Like, let him be
Well,
scared. Let him have that. And it actually is a beautiful reflection now, because we can compare and contrast, because they see it and I get to teach them and tell them like, hey, that is his emotion. That doesn't have to be yours. So you can take what feels good and leave the rest. So learning how to even feel emotions and then navigating emotional stuff with myself and my kids, that's been quite the journey. But honestly, it's just been so fun.
amazing. I think there's probably nothing that prompts personal growth as much as motherhood and entrepreneurship, you know?
Yes. Yes. So both of those
As a
combined.
mother, as an entrepreneur, that's what I think. And ultimately, the most important thing is to not what you say, but what you do, because our children model after us. You know, you can be saying one
Mhm.
thing, but if you're not modeling it for them, they're going to look to see what you're actually doing. And that's really the situation with our employees too and our team members. You know, they model after us as
100%.
well. And I think it takes a lot of self awareness to really also analyze to see where you came from and what your childhood was like and make decisions to do things differently, right? As opposed to
Yeah.
just repeating patterns because, you know, we really have two choices. We can just kind of go through life as a victim and just repeat the unhealthy patterns that we inherited from our parents, understanding that they did the best they could, but they lived in different times, different environments, under their circumstances, they did the best they could. And unconsciously, we could be repeating them, or we could step into the creator mentality and decide, no, I'm going to learn from that. I'm going to learn what not to do. I'm going to pick the best and discard the rest. And in terms of what I impart onto my own children and create my own bubble, my own reality, and my own little universe for my family.
Yeah, and it's so empowering for us as well, especially once you reach that level of self-awareness and you get to the point of like, "Oh, it doesn't have to be this way." And then you just get to consciously create whatever you want.
Yeah. So let's talk about burnout because this is something you and I have had a lot of discussions on. I know you've gone through it in your career, and that's also one of the reasons that I wanted to connect with you because at my prior law firm, I built everything based on sheer grit and determination and blood, sweat, and tears, basically, giving it all and working nights and weekends and pulling constant all-nighters. And in this new stage of my career with corporate and law firm, I'm trying to do things differently and allowing things to come with more ease and more intentionality, and realizing that working hard does not mean more success. And so tell me
Yes.
about your journey from burnout early in your career and how you navigated it and shifted out of it.
Yeah, so my burnout came during my divorce or right at like around that time because that's when I gave myself permission to understand like, oh, I'm not doing this because I want to be doing it. I'm doing this to escape my marriage. So
Mm,
once I gave myself that permission and granted my whole life, this was all just a huge self-development realization. My whole life like I've been an overachiever, but I was achieving to earn the love of others. So whether it was my parents, my partner, like it was always achieving to earn the love of someone else. And once I had that realization, it was just like, oh, okay, I don't want to do this anymore. And it was just rebuilding my why, rebuilding the whole structure of everything that I did because I worked all day, all night. And I realized, hey, I actually want to live my life. I want to enjoy my life. It got to the point where I just want to walk away from all of this. Like I was making $1 million a year and I was just burnt out. I didn't want to have another phone call. I didn't want to answer another email. I just wanted to walk away from it all. Luckily, I didn't. I just got really intentional about what I wanted to create. And that's where I think it starts when you're burnt out, because connecting the dots backwards, I see that I was not in alignment. I was not living my full, true, authentic life. And because of that, we reach burnout because we're not doing what we want to do. We're not being authentic. Now, I have very drastically changed the way my whole life is and how I operate. And in that, a lot of it is just a lot of deep inner work because I had to completely rewire my own nervous system. I had to completely rewire my wants, my whys. And now I operate from a place of knowing I have created these two beautiful masculine structures, my law firm and legalpreneur, and I get to choose how I'm supported by them. If I wanted to work 10 hours a day, 12 hours a day in those businesses and make however much money, I could do that. But I don't want to do that anymore because I love my life. I want to enjoy my life. It's not that I set hours. I just do what feels good now. It's like, okay, I feel very fulfilled today working 5 hours today, 8 hours today.
mhm,
The next day maybe I don't work at all. We talked about this recently. My schedule, I try to take Fridays off completely, but sometimes things come up. I do still take calls, but I just try to create exactly what I want. So when I was in that period of burnout, I remember having the vision like, "Oh, I wish I didn't have to work every day. I wish I could have this day off. I wish I could just do this in the middle of the day." So it's just remembering what is it that I want?
mhm.
How do I create that? And when you're operating from a place of fulfillment and not chasing or trying to earn the love of something, like doing what you want to do and just really being that full authentic version of yourself, I think burnout is impossible because when you are fully your authentic self, you're just always doing what you want to be doing. And there's no way to burn out from that.
Beautiful. How has your mindset shift and your shift of your focus on joy and alignment versus hustle, how has it ultimately impacted your business's revenue and your business's operations? Both.
Yeah. So, yeah, I used to chase the money.
Mhm.
I very early, I mean, immediately, I just wanted to make a lot of money. And that comes from being in scarcity growing up. So, always wanting to make a lot of money. And I had the mindset that, oh, in order to make a lot of money, I have to work a lot of hours. And then just learning more about co creation and being intentional, I realized, oh, like I can just create whatever I want. And so I shifted my mindset from and a lot of us that grow up in scarcity or very middle class or poverty households, that is what we're taught. You have to work hard to make a lot of money. But actually that's not true. Whatever you believe to be true is true. So I've shifted my beliefs to, hey, the more fun I have, the more money I make.
Mm,
And that came from when I was really building up Legalpreneur. I got to a point where I was burnt out. I was spinning my wheels, not happy because I was trying to build this company as a startup and sell it for this huge dollar amount. And it finally hit me one day. I don't know if I've shared this story with you, but my friend Liz, she had sold her company a couple of years earlier
mhm.
and we had met up. She's in Austin. I had met up with her for a day and I was like, Liz, I don't know what I'm doing. And she's just this happy go lucky woman. She's like, Andrea, I just wake up every day and I ask myself, what's the most fun thing I can do? And then I go do that. And of course, I'm like burnt out, not even making much money at this point because I'm trying to build this startup. And I'm like, it's easy for her to say, doesn't that? But then it just hit me. I was like, no, that's it. Why do I have to hurry up and build this company and sell it?
Mhm.
Why don't I just enjoy life right now? I don't want to enjoy my life in 5 or 10 years. I want to enjoy it now. And it was from that day that I had with her where basically went home and was like, okay, this isn't a startup. This is a lifestyle business. I don't care to hurry up and build and sell. And I think a lot of startup CEOs that are in startups, they
Mhm.
are avoiding trauma they're chasing because of their own internal state. And finally, I got to the point where I realized, like, hey, I don't have to hurry up and sell this company. Like, I can just enjoy my life now. And from that day forward, I, every single day, I started asking myself, like, what's the most fun thing I can do? And I go do that. And from that, I started playing more poker.
Mhm.
And because I've always played poker, and I started playing more poker because that's fun. That's fun for me. And I wouldn't say I'm a professional poker player, but I make money. And the structure of my life now, I say, like, okay, I have my two masculine structures of my businesses that get to support me. I get to receive from them. And then I get to really like be in my feminine and flow and go have fun when I play poker. And it's every day just actively choosing to have fun and enjoy myself. Because if you're not enjoying it now, you're not going to enjoy it when you sell when this happens, I'll be happy. When this happens, I'll enjoy it. You have to enjoy it now. You have to have fun now.
I love that. And, there's a lot of discussion lately about slow living, right? It's become very trendy. It's all over YouTube, the anti hustle culture. And
Hmm.
one of the questions that I see kind of debated a lot in various podcasts is when you first launch in a business, can you launch a successful business with that type of joy is my job? I'm going to enjoy slow living. I'm going to listen to my intuition, the anti hustle culture mindset. Or is it generally people that are successful with that or people that have paid their dues, have participated in hustle culture, have done the grind, have put in the time, the hours, the blood, sweat, and tears. And then once the business is built out, then they can kind of reap the benefits of it and enjoy and allow themselves to have that anti-hustle, slower, more intentional life. What is your thought on that? Can you build a business like that from the very beginning, or do you have to pay your dues first?
I think that whatever you believe is true is true. At the beginning, I believed like, oh, I have to hustle, 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 and then I can earn to receive. But that I've learned that goes back to worthiness. We don't feel worthy until we've done the hustling, but we can skip all the hustling and just believe that we're worthy now. We can just believe, hey, I'm worthy to have this great, successful business, and I only have to do this, or I only have to do that, or I can just have other people run the company for me. There's so many possibilities out there. And it's like whatever we believe to be true, it is true. So if you believe that you have to hustle and then you're worthy, then you can get the payoff.
Mhm.
Then that's true. But if you believe like, oh, I'm just going to create this business and this is how the structure is going to be, and I'm going to work 5 hours a week. I'm going to work however much or however little, and I'm going to make this much money. If that's what's in alignment with you, that's what you believe to be
Mhm.
true. That's true.
Yeah. And comes back to what we talked about earlier, right? Perception is reality. How we perceive things is
Exactly. And
reality reflect.
what I believe to be true is we have our ideas, our thoughts, and our dreams. They're safe guidance. So some people say, is that a crazy dream or is that outlandish? Is that delusional? No.
Hmm.
I think our desires are safe guidance. That if it's on your mind, if it's on your heart, it's there for a reason. That's what you are meant to be doing.
Hmm.
And then from there, you get to shed all the stuff that comes up. Because if you have this dream of, oh, I want to create this brand where I work 10 hours a week and I make however much money, when you're dreaming about that, you're also having those thoughts that come up of why it can't happen. And some people see that as a curse. I think it's beautiful. It just tells us what we need to work on, what we need to shed, because those are the limiting beliefs that we have to get rid of in order to have those dreams come to fruition. So anytime those limiting beliefs come up, I'm thankful for them because, oh, that's where I'm blocked.
Yeah.
That's why it's not happening right now. And it takes a lot of shifting if you're newer into looking at your limiting beliefs and becoming self-aware. It takes shifting to understand like those limiting beliefs, they're not there to doom you. They're there to bring to light why it's not happening yet.
Hmm. Yeah. Makes sense. And aside from your mindset shift, you've also taken tangible physical actions in order to allow yourself this life where you have freedom of time and ability to focus on what you want to focus on, right? You built an amazing team. You have systems, you have automations, you have very solid foundation for your business that you've been able to build that then allows you to wake up in the morning and say, okay, what is the most joyous thing I want to do today, right? So
Yes.
can you talk more about your team culture, and the systems that you've built out that allow your businesses to function without your day to day or moment to moment by moment involvement?
Yes. And I have created what I believe to be a business that I would want to work for.
Hmm.
I am an employer that I would want to work for
I
because
love
I
it.
remember
Yeah.
what it was like working for somebody. Because so when I worked in Big Law, I had my son in my last semester of law school. We
Mhm.
were very intentional about it. And his first birthday was February of my first year. And I remember taking a half day for his birthday. And I could just feel and it could just be what I believed, but I know that people were looking at me like, she's taking a half day. She's a first year associate. You know how the culture is.
Yep.
After going through that in Big Law and after going through the burnout and just seeing so much, I knew that I always wanted to be the employer that I don't care if you have a doctor's appointment in the middle of the day. I don't care if you need to go and pick up your kids from the bus stop or from school. Like, we are only here for a certain amount of time. And especially coming from, I didn't want kids to now like absolutely love raising my children. I want my employees to feel comfortable spending that time with their kids. I don't want them to feel, oh, they have a performance or this thing at school. Like,
Hmm.
absolutely take off. You should be there 100%. So the culture that I've created is my employees, they're on salary. They don't have set hours, but it is generally during normal business hours. But I'm also like, hey, if you get your work done, I don't need you sitting at a computer twiddling your thumbs. Just get done what needs to get done and go live your life. So it's unlimited vacation as well because I'm not over here tracking like how many hours you've taken off this year.
Love
Go live your
also
go
a
live
lot of
your life.
admin work, right, to do that.
Right. Like
Yeah.
who has time for that?
Yeah, I love that. And that kind of reminds me of the conversation we had about parenting, right? There's two types of parents and there's two types of bosses. Parents that have themselves been abused or somehow, had a rough childhood often put their kids through it thinking, well, I was spanked as a child and it did me
Mhm.
well and it, taught me things. I'm going to do that to my child. A lot of bosses thing, that say that my boss, early in my career, has put me through this miserable hazing experience and didn't let me take any time off and micromanage.
Mhm.
So, and that shaped me into who I am. So this is my duty to treat my employees like that versus somebody who says, okay, I went through hell and I don't want to put my employees through that. I want to create a completely different culture as opposed to making them suffer just because I had to suffer and therefore they should as well.
That's exactly what it is. And it also, as far as like the work actually goes, I feel like I give them a lot of freedom as well because I don't want to micromanage. I also am paying them for their brain, which I
Mhm.
think there's definitely a need for, people we want employees that use their brain, but we also sometimes need employees that are just those 1, 2, 3ers
Mhm.
where we give them these tasks to do 1, 2, 3, and they do that. They do it really well. They don't do anything less. They don't do anything more. But right now, my team is all thinkers and I give them a lot of freedom. And what I mean by that is when there's like a new project, a new assignment, I tell them, like, you do it the way you think it's meant to be done. And then I will give you my feedback
Mm.
because I don't want them to only do it the way I've always done it. If I do give them my process or if I give them eh, a structure, I always tell them, if you think there's a better way, please tell me or please do that. I will tell you how I've done it, but this is not the only way. And if you think there's something more efficient, there's something better, by all means, do that.
I love that. I love that. Team culture is so important and valuing your employees and creating the environment where they become problem solvers, not problem.
Hmm. Yeah.
And that's probably been the biggest realization for me as a manager who has hired and fired a number of people in my career is I want problem solvers and not problem reporters. When people come to me and say, okay, this happened, what do you want me to do about it? That's immediately a warning sign because what I trained people who work for me to do is come to me and say, okay, this happened and this is how I fixed it. Or if they're not quite ready yet, to have the autonomy to fix the problem, this is what happened. And I propose solution one, solution two, solution three. These are the benefits and the drawbacks of each solution. What would you like me to do? You know, it engages them to think and come to me with solutions as opposed because otherwise it almost defeats the purpose of having employees because the time that I gain back from not doing the work myself is then get repurposed on managing people.
Exactly.
So, what practices or habits help you maintain alignment between your personal and professional goals?
Oh, this has changed a lot over the years. I meditate a lot. I dabbled in meditation when I first got divorced, but I would say over the past year, I've really heavily got into meditation almost daily. And another big one that I've really implemented more this year is plant medicine.
Mhm.
So I first did plant medicine, a ceremony 2 or 3 years ago. And it was great. I loved it. One of my friends introduced me to it.
And plan,
And
are you referring to ayahuasca or something else?
so it's similar to ayahuasca. So what I do is Kana,
Mhm.
Kanna, and we do it in a ceremony. It's usually 10 to 20 people, and we're just exploring consciousness together.
Mhm.
And it's a beautiful experience. The first time, it was a great experience. It was beautiful. And I just did it once. And this is what I tell people that ask me about like self development. And I'm like, hey, whatever you're ready for is going to present itself to you
Mhm.
because I wasn't ready back then for what I've been doing now. So I did it once and that was it. And then coming into 2025, I felt a lot more coming to the surface. And I knew I wanted to go deeper into my healing journey. I just started having thoughts. I was like, oh, maybe I should try plant medicine again because connecting the dots backwards, I see that I have spent really the past 4 or 5 years learning the tools
Hmm.
necessary to really go deep into healing. And then now I've just been doing a lot of that deep, deep healing work. So at the beginning of 2025, I started doing plant medicine again. And that has really just sped up the healing and also taken it a step deeper because I had a therapist and I felt like I was just complaining to someone and she wasn't really challenging me. And I know I've learned that therapists really are limited in what they can do.
Yeah,
And I knew like, okay, there's deep stuff here that's coming up that I really want to work through. So I started plant medicine again, and that has been just incredible for my healing journey because you're able to go so deep
hmm,
and just be held in such a beautiful container to allow that stuff to come up. And I always say like plant medicine is like a year of therapy. So
right.
like a year of therapy in 1 week or one weekend. And it's beautiful. So plant medicine, meditating. I've been connecting a lot more with nature as well. I either run or go on daily walks. Just really being outside, I've realized helps me feel grounded.
I love that. I mean, I'm not a mental health practitioner, obviously, but from what I've observed from people who only do therapy is that years go by and they're by and large still the same person.
Hmm.
Because I feel that it's very backwards looking, like digging into the past and the trauma as opposed to forward looking and really focusing on making a decision what you want to be, what you want to do, irrespective of what might have happened, which I know is easier said than done, but I think this is what really propels that growth, that decision to create the version of yourself that you want to be. But what do you say to critics of plant medicine that say, well, this is just a shortcut and it bypasses having to do the work and therefore it's not something that's going to stick?
I don't think it's bypassing the work at all. I think it helps you get there faster
Hmm.
because my experience has been like I can feel something that needs to be looked at, but I can't exactly see it. I can feel it right there at the surface, but I cannot see it. And then in ceremony, you just get so deep into your subconscious so quickly that it's right there. We always set our intention, so whatever you're wanting to work on, that's typically what comes up. And you're just able to see so much more clearly and
Hmm.
you're so present. Like there's no distractions. And it's not that there are no distractions around, you're just so present and it's impossible to not look at what's right in front of you. And there's definitely no shortcuts, no bypassing. I will say, coming out of plant medicine, it's been some of the hardest times that I've had because you're doing so much deep work.
To the surface, but then you still have to process them and decide
Mhm.
what to do about it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And plant medicine just it brings it to the surface and it's what you do after
Hmm.
that really enforces it. Because if you're not integrating, if you're not continuing this, it's just like, okay, cool, we looked at it, that's it. So you have to double down and make sure you're fully integrating in your everyday life.
It's interesting that you bring up connecting with nature and the walks that you've been going on. I read a lot of biographies and I listen to a lot of podcasts with successful people, and that theme keeps coming up more and more and more, not just in modern times, but even looking back at, some of the kind of pillars in business and science and art, how their best ideas have come to them when they were communing with nature. Going for a
Hmm.
walk, going for a hike, just sitting in silence at a silent place. One book that I just finished reading, the author is basically says every single morning take at least 20 minutes to just sit in silence and ideally outside somewhere surrounded by nature. We are nature, right? We are part of nature,
Yeah.
but we get so disconnected from it. Everything is energy, right? But there's a lot of interference from the electromagnetic frequencies and everything around us to where we can reconnect with nature, get recharged, and also increase our capacity to receive those intuitive insights.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And one more note on plant medicine and all this healing, because it's so easy to get lost.
Mm.
And I know plenty of people that try all these different modalities and they're just running and running and trying to escape. But really, what you have to remember is you're just coming home to you. Because when we're born, like we are our most authentic selves. And immediately we're just bombarded with our parents' stuff, our caretaker stuff. And now it is our responsibility to peel back those layers and get back to our full authentic self. And some people use all the modalities, plant medicine, meditating, therapy. They use all of that to just run and keep running and keep running and not actually facing it. But if you can just face it and allow yourself to be your most authentic self, that's where the magic
Yeah,
is.
that makes perfect sense. Discovering yourself versus escaping, and then what you do about it. Yeah.
Yep.
Thing. So coming back to sort of more 3D for a minute, what common legal mistakes do you see business owners make?
Oh man. Number one is not checking trademarks.
Yay for trademarks as a fellow trade.
Yes,
Yeah.
trademark attorneys are
Mm.
so necessary. If you're listening to this, please, please, please do not skip trademarks. Contact Ilona now because
Or Andrea.
yeah, when you choose a business name, you may find the catchiest name or the name that you're in love with. But if you are infringing on someone, it doesn't matter how catchy it is. And it's the thing you have to understand about trademarks is it's not just the same exact name that can be infringement. It's anything similar enough to where consumers are likely to be confused. And it's those similarities that throw people off. So don't think that, oh, I searched for ABC. Nobody had ABC, so I'm
Or-
good to go. Because if there's the ABC or ABD, ABCs, that could all still be trademark infringement.
Yeah.
So trademarks absolutely are the number one way that I see entrepreneurs get in trouble. Um, Number two would be, I don't want to say get in trouble, but that can cause issues is not using written contracts and waiting too long to file the LLC.
I couldn't agree with you more on trademarks. And I think that's the most common misconception I see among my clients or potential clients or just people that I talk to. They would do a basic Google search and they say, no, I saw that my name is available. Or they would do a search on their Secretary of State Division of Corporations, which had nothing to do with with the
Yep.
trademark registry. And it's the analogy that I make for my clients is building a house on a land that you have not made sure you own.
Yes, that's a great way to put it.
And ultimately, so many business owners think, oh, I'll think about trademarking when I'm bigger, when I'm more prominent, when I have the money. And in reality, you inadvertently could be building somebody else's brand. And
Exactly.
the average cost of rebranding is about $30,000. And the average cost
hmm
of an infringement lawsuit defense is in the six figures. So that couple $1,000s spent to work with an attorney on a trademark and have the attorney do a comprehensive search, because like you said, it doesn't have to be an exact match to pose a likelihood of confusion or other legal issue. It's a worthwhile investment.
Absolutely. 100%.
So Andrea, how does the Legalpreneur make legal help more scalable and affordable for entrepreneurs?
So we have our Legalpreneur membership. That is our signature offer. And with that membership, you get all the legal resources that you need. We'll file your LLC. You have access to all of our contract templates. You get our DIY trademark course, and we have a bank of videos with legal Q&A. So anytime you have questions, you can drop them and I answer them with videos. And there's just so many resources in there to make it impossible for you to not have options to make sure that you are legally protected, because that was the whole goal of Legalpreneur, is being able to meet entrepreneurs no matter what stage of business, no matter how much money they're making. It is accessible to everyone.
Love it. Okay. And I want to talk briefly about coaching, because you also started coaching other lawyers. And I know some of our audience probably consists of other attorneys. So, what motivated you to start coaching lawyers?
I have had attorneys ask me for years and years to coach, and For several years, I wouldn't do it because it was very much imposter syndrome. I didn't understand. I was like, "What do you? I don't know. I don't understand." Then I started to own my gifts because I really have started to understand like, hey, what I do is a gift. What I have created, it is a gift. And I do have something to give back to other attorneys. There are things that I can teach. There are things that I can share with other attorneys to make them successful as well. And it's not just the, hey, this is how you be, a great attorney, but also like sharing my own healing journey
Mhm.
and helping other attorneys who we all have been pretty much the same traumatic experience going through law school and perhaps working for a toxic law firm, not only getting out of that, but learning how to thrive out of that. I've learned I do have a lot to share.
Got it. So, what is some of the most common mindset blocks or misconceptions you see among attorneys who want to launch their own practices?
It has to be hard. You have to
Mm.
struggle. You don't have to struggle. I think the struggle is the biggest one because if you believe you're going to struggle, you are going to struggle. But if you believe like, "Oh, like, it gets to be easy," like, yeah, we're gonna have roadblocks, we're gonna have bumps in the road, but for the most part, like, we get to just serve entrepreneurs or whoever your client is. You get to just
Mhm.
go serve them and be this valuable resource. It does not have to be the struggle that we build up in our heads. If I could wave a magic wand, that would be, like, the number one mindset thing that I would change across the board for all attorneys. It does not ever have to be a struggle.
And it can be fun too. I love owning a law firm and growing it, treating it as a business and growing it as a business. I think back when my former law partner and I initially partnered up and we had a conversation. As our practice started picking up and growing, he said, okay, we're both doing everything. And really, one of us should be responsible for the business and the other one should be responsible for the legal work. Obviously, we would discuss the business decisions and the other person would still do the legal work. But at that point, we already started hiring and, somebody had to be accountable for the two parts of the business. And he said, "What do you want to do?" He's like, "I'm fine with either. What do you want to do? I think you can handle either." And I thought about it and I thought, okay, well, at this point, I've already been a practicing attorney for a number of years. And it's not that I'm giving up practicing law, I'm still going to continue practicing law. But I've always been an aspiring entrepreneur who
Mhm.
really didn't have any experience. So I chose to do the thing that would challenge me the most, which meant be responsible for the business aspect of business. And figured what better way to learn is by doing, and as part of that, I became responsible for marketing and business development and systems, policies, procedures, hiring, firing, team culture, financial controls, all of it, and was really self taught. And after 10 years of that partnership, I emerged a completely different person to the point to where now I want to be decided that I wanted to be of service to other entrepreneurs, which is what prompted me to launch Carpe Diem Law Firm, pivoted my practice area, shift into trademarks and employment law compliance, and really be of service to other entrepreneurs because I get what they're going through, just like you get what they're going.
Mm,
So
exactly.
it
Yep.
it's a fun journey. So for any attorneys listening, if you're thinking about launching your own practice, do it. There's no shortage of
Do it. Yeah.
men. If you need mindset work, go to Andrea and she'll fix you.
Yeah.
Andrea, do you have any insights or thoughts as to where you see the legal industry going, especially for small law firms and independent practitioners?
I think there's going to be more. I think there's going to be a lot more attorneys leaving bigger firms, big firms, medium-sized firms. I think there's going to be a lot more attorneys going out on their own.
Mhm.
And I think it's this shift. I think it's a self-development shift because I think collectively as a whole, people are starting to realize their worth, their power, and they're going to realize like, hey, I can do this on my own. And I highly encourage that because if it's been on your heart, I actually just had a conversation with an attorney last week and he was like, I don't know if it's a delusional dream.
Mhm.
And he came to me for a trademark and I said, bud,
Yeah.
I hope you weren't
Oh,
coming to me to convince you otherwise because I'm the one that will talk you into it. I'm like, if you're coming to me to talk you out of it, bad idea. I will talk you right into it because there's so much freedom and power that you have to own your own firm, to own your own business, but also we're viewed as such a highly valuable resource as an attorney. And you want to be able to call your own shots. You want to be able to have the most flexibility. You don't want somebody else to tell you how to serve your client. You want to serve your client the way you want to serve them because they're coming to you. They want to be served by you, not by your toxic boss that doesn't understand where the client's coming from. So I'm very much for more attorneys going out on their own and for the mindset of there's always going to be clients, there's always going to be more than enough. And if that is in your head, whether you're an attorney or aspiring entrepreneur, no matter what business, no matter what niche, no matter what your profession is, there is always more than enough.
Abundance mentality versus lack mentality. You
Exactly.
choose and the life will reflect back to you what you believe.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Do you have a personal mantra or quote that guides you?
Honestly, when I may be questioning like, oh, am I making the right decision? Am I, doing the right thing? What I always tell myself is I can't mess up what's for me.
Mm,
And if it's not for me, I can't make it work. So having that trust, whether it's the universe, God, angels, whatever you believe in, having that trust, knowing that what's happening to you is the highest and best good for you, that's the most power. I think that's the most powerful mindset to have because you don't have to force anything. You don't have to try and make things happen. I like to call it surrender, like you really just surrender to the universe. But it's not just, oh, whatever happens, happens. It's, hey, I have this intention. This is how I see my life going. But whatever happens, like it's the best and highest good. So if it doesn't happen the way I think it should, I fully believe and know it's this or something better.
I love it. Very similar to mine, which is everything's happening for me.
Yep,
It's opposed to
exactly.
me. Yeah. And Andrea, what's next for the Legalpreneur and what are you most excited about right now?
Oh, I am very excited about growing our membership. I don't want to say we took a break. We've never taken a break from the membership, but I have not intentionally been growing the membership. And this year, 2025, we really are putting a big push on growing that membership because I think within the next year or two, I likely will sell my law firm because my vision is to grow Legalpreneur to serve small businesses, but also create a network of attorneys that have the opportunity to serve these entrepreneurs that are in our Legalpreneur membership. So, in growing our Legalpreneur membership, m- what I naturally see to happen is to sell my law firm because I want to help build up more attorneys to serve more entrepreneurs.
Interesting. Okay. Fascinating. I wish you success with that. And
Thank
finally,
you.
where can our listeners find you? Where can they connect with you?
Yeah, so you can find my personal Instagram is at Andrea Sager Law. You'll find business, kids, poker content there. And then TikTok and Instagram for the Legalpreneur. And then the legalpreneur.com. You can find all of our resources and our membership and everything there.
Fantastic. Thank you, Andrea. Thank you so much for sharing your story and your insights with us. You've given
Thank
our
you.
audience so much clarity and inspiration, not just about building legally sound businesses, but also about doing so from a place of balance and purpose. To everyone listening, if you found value in this episode, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who needs to hear Andrea's story. Andrea, it's been a pleasure having you here.